Alright, so I'm here trying to set up this new Mac after I recovered it from the breakdown from Big Sur. So let's get to it. First thing I need to do is actually go ahead and add my mouse because it makes life a lot easier. I rather add it as Bluetooth. Okay, I got the mouse right there. Alright, so mouse connected. I think I can skip this one. So what I need to do now is actually start installing my stuff. So the first thing I'll do is I'll open up Safari, and I will need to, so because I'm a .NET developer, I'll first install all my .NET tools. That is everything I'll be showing here. So first thing I'll do is install the .NET SDK. That's, I'll go to .NET website and download the 3.1 SDK and allow that, because I don't like this browser so much. So what I'll do is I'll download the Microsoft Edge browser. I want to download the stable version, the latest build, of course, for Mac OS. I'll download that, accept and download, because I don't like seeing all these prompts all the time. Okay, so while that is going on, the .NET SDK actually is also still installing. Still downloading, so that might take a couple of moments. So while that goes on, let me also download my VS Code. So download for Mac right there. Also, I will need to download Visual Studio. So I'll go to visualstudio.com. and I'll download the one for Mac OS. I wouldn't be going through any survey right now. The download should start any moment from now. So Microsoft Edge is done downloading. So let me just open that up and install it. Fingerprint. Microsoft Edge is done installing. So Visual Studio is also installing now, downloading rather. So the setup is done, downloading. So I'll just go ahead and allow all these notifications, and then Microsoft Edge starts up. Let me just check on that. Also, one of my favorite tools is PowerShell. So I need to go to the PowerShell website. That's from GitHub. I'll need to download that from GitHub and install the one for Mac OS. So I'll need to find the pkg file and download it, of course. The other one, because of the kind of code I write, I like to use Cascadia code. So I'll just search for that and I'll go to the releases part of it and download the zip file and install it in my fonts library. Also, because I write .NET, so I write mobile apps, I will need to install Xcode so I can write for Xamarin and Mac OS. So I'll go to the App Store right there and I'll just continue all the stems, and over here I'll need to search for Xcode. So Xcode is downloading. After I download it will install by itself. So I'll just wait for that to finish while I do other things. So Cascadia code is done. I will open up the TTF file and just go ahead and install all these ones. I'll move this over here. Okay, I got my font book set. Alright, so I also need to download the Code Insiders because I like to, do preview of things. So I'll download the Code Insiders also. Alright, Microsoft Edge is ready to go. So I'll just go ahead and finish that setup. So I'll sign in to synchronize my data. And then I will need to finish this multi-factor authentication from my phone. Alright, that is good to go. I accept all the necessary things. So my browser is ready to go. So what I'll just do is I'll pin this to the dock. Also, what I need to do is I need to minimize the size of this my dock over here because I don't like how it's big. So I'll go to the dock settings and reduce the size a little bit. That looks acceptable to me now. Now on the Mac OS, if I need to write for .NET, I need to enable remote share, remote login. So if I need to log into it from the Windows PC, so what I'll do is I'll go over here in this systems preferences area. I'll go to sharing and enable remote login. Okay, and I need to change the name of this, so I'll call this GWL Mac. That's the name I always name my stuff, and then I'm good to go. Right, so I'll just stay on this security and privacy screen. For some apps I need to install, it will keep prompting me for some security problems, so I would just wait for that. So what I'll do now is I'll go into my downloads folder, and I see VS Code is done over here, so I'll just move that into the applications folder. So I'll go ahead and install PowerShell. No, before I install PowerShell, let me actually launch VS Code. So I need to open that. I can close all these ones, they're not really needed anymore. Alright, so what I need to do is ensure I add VS Code as a path variable. So I'll do Ctrl Shift P and I'll look for shell and I'll select install code command in path and I'll select OK for that, such that when I launch the terminal, okay, so let's say I've closed VS Code right here, I can just type code and it will launch VS Code for me. That looks awesome. Alright, so let me go back into my downloads folder now. VS Code Insider also is done, so I'll add that also into my applications folder. Okay, so now that I'm here, let me go ahead and install the .NET SDK. I'll just give that a bit of time and put in my fingerprints and wait for the installation to finish. Okay, so now I got my .NET SDK installed. I'll just move this to bin. I'll also install PowerShell because I love the shell. Okay, that secrecy prompt I was talking about earlier on, I'll just need to open it up from here and then accept this. Go back here and continue the installation. My fingerprint. Move that to bin. PowerShell is installed now, so I can literally go over here now and look for PowerShell and I can start doing my PowerShell stuff. Okay, the reason why I did this is because I love to use PowerShell inside my VS Code. So if I open up VS Code here, I can open up my terminal. So I go to terminal view here and I go to new terminal and I come over here and select my default shell and I ensure it's PowerShell because PowerShell is like awesome to me. So if I close this up now and I start a new terminal, I get PowerShell. Another thing I like to do is change the look and feel of my VS Code to look like the font I want. So what I'll do is I'll go to settings and I'll go over and search for font. So the default font, I really don't like it, so I'll go ahead and edit it fully in the settings file. So I want to actually enable font ligatures, so I'll set this to true and then I'll edit the font. That's editor.fontFamily. I'll set that as Cascadia Code PL and I'll save that. So my font is changed now. So everything looks real nice again. Alright. So while that is done, I can close this up. And then next thing I'll need to do is actually go ahead and install my Visual Studio. So I'll go back to my downloads folder and open up the Visual Studio installer. Note that Xcode is still installing. So I'll open up that installer and then double click that to open the Visual Studio installer. Let me just close all these ones up. So it's just trying to verify that the installer is safe to install on my Mac before it goes on. So while I actually wait for that, let me share with you how running .NET Core looks like on a Mac. So I got the terminal right here. Got the terminal. How do I zoom on this thing? I'm not even sure. So if I go ahead and say .NET, so I got my .NET CLI installed. If I type .NET new, so Visual Studio is almost ready to install. It's just going ahead to check all the things. So I'll continue this over here, and then I'll check all the boxes that I need to install. So I want to write for Android and iOS and Mac OS using the Cocoa framework. So this is good to go. I'll just go ahead and click on install. And we just wait for that installation, download and installation process to finish. So if I type .NET new console, or let me just type .NET new for now, I see a list of options of applications I can write with .NET Core. So I can write console apps, class libraries, WPF apps, UWP apps, web apps, Angular apps with ASP.NET Core backend, Blazor apps, and all sorts right here. Blazor server, Blazor Wasm, just a whole lot of them. So this is good to go. Let me actually go into the projects folder. So let me create a directory called projects. And do a .NET new. Let me actually use PowerShell for this, right? Let me just launch PowerShell using pwsh command, and I will go ahead and do a .NET new console. I'll output that to console app. So what it does for me is it goes ahead to create a console application inside the projects folder. So if I open up that folder right here, you can see the projects folder that I created. You can see console app right here, and you can see all the files it's created for me. So if I go ahead and say code console app, it will open up that console app folder for me inside VS Code, and I can actually go ahead to run this. And look here, it's telling me to install the C# extension for VS Code. I'll of course go ahead and do that. I'll also go ahead and launch my terminal again, and I'll just do a .NET run for this, so that I just print out hello world. Oh, I typed the wrong command right there. .NET run. Yeah, that's the right command. And I get my hello world, so .NET is up and good to go. So I'll just close this up. Now I'm just trying to launch VS Code inside as also. Keep that also in dock. What I need to do is, because I have settings synchronized across all my systems, I'll just go ahead and enable preferences synchronization, and then I turn that on. I sign in with my GitHub account, because that's the account I used to sign in to have all that. So I need to finish the authentication process also for this. So let me just log into that. and then finish the two-factor authentication process. Of course, I'll allow that. Always trust this one open. So what it goes there to do is it will check all my settings from across all my devices and synchronize them with all my extensions and preferences. Everything will come into one place just like that. So you can see my color, my theme has changed. It's downloading all my extensions for me. You can see them all just popping up in here without me having to do anything so serious. Just signing in and making it work. See, all my extensions are coming up. So I'll just get off that one. So I need to put in an API key over here. So I'll need to find my worker time settings. So that's what I use to track the amount of time I use to write code. So I'll just get into that and log in. I'm not sure that account still works. Oh, it still works. Nice. So I'll go inside, I think, is it integrations? Nope, supported IDs, and I go to VS Code and I just copy my API key right here. So I'll paste that in here and go. So I'll do that same thing for the non-insider VS Code. So I'll just go over here and search for worker time. There's a prompt that just came up. So yeah, let me install this git command line developer tool. So this is worker time. It's already installed. So let me just search for that extension. No, it's already there. Nice. So it's telling me here I have an update, blah blah blah. I'll do that later tonight because I can't afford to restart right now. So I think I'm pretty much good with VS Code as far as everything is concerned. So I'm just waiting for Visual Studio and Xcode to finish installing. I'll just speed up the recording here so it's going to be fast and I don't waste our time. And the installation is complete. It just remains for Xcode and the CLI tool to be installed, but we can skip that part because we can always do that later while we wait for Xcode to finish installing on the system. While I click on, so I'll click on done over here, and then Visual Studio for Mac would launch. Then it's just verifying. and then it's loading up. So I can decide to sign in with my Microsoft account as my developer account, so it can synchronize my settings and get my license, but I will decide to do this later. And it will ask me what kind of keyboard shortcuts I want to use, so I can use one for Mac or for Windows. Because I come from a Windows background, I'll most likely be very conversant with this one, so I'll select the Visual Studio for Windows shortcuts. I can use VS Code shortcuts or Xcode shortcuts, but I'll select the Visual Studio for Windows shortcuts and I'll click on continue. And of course, I can change it much later. So what I have over here is the launch screen for Visual Studio for Mac. I can actually go ahead and change my template for my color theme because I prefer the dark theme. I can go over here to Visual Studio, click on preferences. I'll just wait for that to load up, and I can change my theme to dark. So this will require me to restart Visual Studio, which is fine. And so Visual Studio is launching again now. And then it's back in dark mode. So what I'll go ahead to do now is actually install my Android emulator. Before I actually create a new project, I will not do anything over here. So I'll go to Tools, I'll go to Device Manager, and I'll click on New Device, and I'll use the Pixel 3 XL as my device base, and I'll decide to change the name over here. I'll call that Pixel 3 XL, and I want to select the operating system it should run. I'll use the latest, that's Android 10, and then I'll leave all the rest as default and create. I'll go ahead and accept the terms, and then it will download the image for the Pixel 3 XL and install it, and then I'm able to launch that emulator. It's creating my Android device now after the download has completed. Unzipping. Now the Android device is done downloading. I'll go ahead and start it. Once that is launched, I can go ahead and close my Android device. So I have my Pixel 3 XL right here. It will take a couple of moments to actually launch because it's running for the first time. And it's starting up. So this is the Android emulator we'll be using for running our applications. You can see it looks just like a normal Android phone. Finally, Xcode is done installing. Also, Visual Studio is done installing. What I'll just do is go ahead and open Xcode just to be sure everything is as good as it's supposed to be, even though I won't be doing anything special there. So I'll agree to the license terms, and then I'll input my password to install the remaining components needed for Xcode to run. So I'll just build this up again now. Ready to go. I will just close up Xcode and close up the App Store. And then close up Visual Studio and shut down for the day. Now that's all my setup, and I am ready to go. So see ya. That's all the setup I need to do. If there's any other software to install, I will install it in the course of time, but these are the major software I install to recover from the Big Sur sucker. Yeah guys, thank you for watching till the end. Bye bye.